This is Mother's perspective before, before we ever met her. So a lot of them, which I won't read because it's a lot. I mean, it would take a while. But the one I'm going to read is when she chooses her faction and the kind of reaction to that. And there might be, if you haven't read Allegiant, there are some things that might confuse you about this, but it won't be spoilery, so I think it'll be okay. I think it won't be spoilery. I've never read this before, so if I spoil some of you, I'm really sorry. Anyway, so, and then the second entry I'm going to read is much later after, well, you'll kind of understand the context, but it's many years later. Okay, so here's the first one. Yesterday, I chose abnegation. David isn't happy, no one over there is, but I am. I'm happy. We waited for everyone else to walk out of the choosing ceremony, and then we cleaned up after them, emptied all the bowls, careful of the broken glass and the candor bowl and the hot coals and the dauntless one. Then all the initiates had a meal together, each one serving the one on his left. I gave Andrew extra butter on his bread. Then there was the foot washing ritual. I thought it would be awkward and gross having a stranger touch my feet. But there were lit candles all around, so the room glowed orange, and everything was quiet except for the splashing of water and the humming of the woman in front of me. And no, it wasn't the most comfortable thing I've ever done, but I just focused on the ritual of it. Hundreds of abnegation had done that exact same thing at that exact same stage in their lives. Someday, I knew, if I lasted that long, I would do it for some initiates myself, maybe even to my children. And it felt weighty when I thought about it that way, and important, like something sacred. They told us to expect 30 days of service, serving the poor, serving the rich, serving our elders, serving each other. Then they taught us the Abnegation Manifesto, modest and brief as it is, and I had it memorized by the second run-through. We all chanted it quietly, so the room was full of whispers. Then all the girls went to a dormitory in Abnegation headquarters, and all the boys went into another one. The girls there stared openly at my tattoos when I changed into my gray abnegation shirt. Most of them are abnegation, and they've never seen a dauntless up close. Some are amity too, but there was one erudite girl, and she asked me about it as I took out my lip piercing for good. You transferred from dauntless? That's rare, she said. I had already decided I liked her right away, just because of the way her limbs seemed to smack into everything when she walked, and because of her wild hair. Evelyn was her name. I know, I said. Well, so is transferring from erudite. What do you think so far? She seemed eager. Seems good, I said, because the other girls were listening and I didn't want to say all the things I was thinking. That yes, abnegation's way of life was peaceful and beautiful, but I was nervous about it. Afraid, not of danger or death, but of boredom. Not so exciting, is it? She said, leaning in close so she could keep her voice down. But we didn't choose this for the constant thrills, right? I nodded. She smiled and started to braid her hair. I lay back in bed. The window next to my bed was open, so I fell asleep to the feeling of the cool air rushing over my toes. Evelyn is right. I didn't choose abnegation for the constant thrills. I chose it because it was the only guarantee of living a good life, and because I missed out on the opportunity to help other people once. I won't do it again. This morning at breakfast, Andrew smiled at me over the table, and all my fears about abnegation dissolved. I didn't really expect to love it here, but I think I might. Now I just have to figure out a way to help the Divergent from inside the wrong faction. And here's the second one. This is much, much later in her life. Okay. The house feels so empty with the children gone. Last night, Andrew came home from the choosing ceremony and shut himself in the bedroom for hours. I kept standing by the door with my fist raised to knock and then losing my nerve. Even after all these years, sometimes it's difficult to know how to show him that I love him. I went into Caleb's room and peeked under his bed and found a stack of library books there gathering dust. They're in a box near the back door now, so I can return them to the school. It appears he was very interested in neuroscience. I always knew that my Caleb was bright. How could either of my children escape that with their father's genes? But I was never sure what he would make of it. I'm still not. Beatrice, however, was a mystery. There was nothing in her room to suggest to me that she might choose dauntless. I suppose her choice might have been an answer to this age-old question, safety or freedom. You can have both, but not always in equal measure. I chose the former, and she chose the latter. I wish I had been able to be more open with both of them. Not to change their choices, but to make sure they're prepared for what they will find in their new factions. For Beatrice and Dauntless, there will be danger. For Caleb and Erudite, the threat of corruption. But I didn't succeed in warning either of them. It's so quiet here, and Andrew looks worn, and I'm just sitting here with my failure. I suppose there's always a visiting day.